previous years, we've looked at many of the all-time greatest horror movies ever made. But that's not happening this year. Oh no. We're digging into the devil's asshole to bring out some of the shittier movies. That's right. We're having a schlockathon, a craporama with a focus on filth. Then there's a mechanical spider. Here's how this thing operates. First, Zorka has to plant a metal disc on the victim, then the spider goes to wherever the disc is, and once it reaches the target, it explodes. And then the person goes into a state of suspended animation. Yeah, it's weird. And best of all, he has a really cool robot. That's the highlight of the whole show. Lugosi's killed early on, but he's resurrected during the Second World War when Nazi bombs are dropped in the cemetery and blast open the tomb holding the vampire. Think about it, a cemetery with a werewolf, a vampire, and Nazi bombs? I would stay away from that place. It has all the chills and atmospheric haze, totally on par with the Universal films of the 40s. In fact, you might even say it's gone a little overboard. Look at all the fog. Even inside the house there's fog. But that's okay for me because I like fog. What the hell, man? There's not enough fog. We need fog. I still don't really understand it. And the plot doesn't make any more sense when it suddenly cuts to stock footage of reptiles fighting from 1 million BC and stop-motion dinosaurs from the Lost Continent. And there's a bubble machine. I don't know what that's about. This is the best part, the reptile wrestling match. In one corner we have the Gila monster, in the other we have the iguana. Ooh, body slam. No reason to run, just watch. Yeah, that's what you call a monster fight. Look at him roll, look at him go! What happened? Did he pick up the background too? I didn't know you could do that. Every time I see it, I'm stunned. Like, what can you say about that? I've never seen that trick in a movie. That's really unique. Well, it's too much to take. I need a beer. From hell it came. From hell what came? A fire-spitting demon? The devil? A lava monster? No, a tree. A tree that kills people. Are they from outer space? Spawned from nuclear radiation? No, they came from a scientist's thoughts. He was conducting an experiment on brain power. He wanted to be able to turn the pages of a book, sort of like an electric Jedi trick. Whenever they're shot at, they spurt blood all over. Oh, listen to that sloppy, bubbling sound. It's so awesome. Can you think of another movie from the 1950s where you can see a brain being smashed with an axe? It may be the goriest film of its time. This whole attack is happening because some guy was too lazy to turn the pages of a book. Yeah, why not make a bunch of killer brains, asshole? Highly recommended, even if only for the final scene. It's good brain-bashing entertainment. The monster in the film never takes off his bandages. Take a look. This is your monster. Looks like a mummy that was wrapped up while wearing a box over his head. There's another scene where she again wanders out of bed, hearing the sounds of knocking on the door. Well, she takes about 5 hours to answer it, and finally when she does, oh my god, it's the skull! Holy shit, somebody's rolling a skull through the doorway! Does that also mean the skull was knocking on the door? Yes, for a skull, it sure gets around. The finished result is a mishmash of two things. One, people walking around in dark rooms, and two, people explaining new plot twists every other scene as if 10 different M. Night Shyamalans were involved. We have a witch who's trying to get revenge on a baron who killed her son, but finds out the son killed the baron. Meanwhile, the son thinks he's the baron and says the servant killed the son. But since the baron is the son, I would think that means the servant killed the baron. A little overridden? I would think so. Things happen at pure random. The witch, for example, gets struck by lightning. What the hell happened? The lightning came out of nowhere like we're playing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. fucking Hyde. Jack Nicholson's performance is decent, but you'd never suspect the future star that lied within. It's a good movie to see if you're curious to how Nicholson's career got started and how Karloff's came closer to its end. You think both of these monsters would be on the same side, they're brothers after all, but the brown gargantua has a close relationship with the humans and doesn't like it when he finds out that brother's been killing people and even devouring some of them. He notices some torn clothes on the ground, and right then he flips his shit. This is my favorite scene because you can tell exactly what the monsters are thinking without any dialogue. Man! Bastard! It's on now! And the rest of the movie, all they do is fight. It lives up to the title. It's more than a fight. It's a war. Dracula has some hilarious dialogue.
We'll see an infernal bloodbath the likes of which has not swept the earth before.
And yes, he talks in that voice the whole movie. Then there's the Frankenstein monster. In close-up, his face looks like a rotting potato, and from far away, it looks like he has a burlap sack over his head. Very quickly, the fight moves outside, from the well-lit interiors to the dark woods. Couldn't they have just stayed inside so we could see them better? The whole fight, they're in silhouette. After Universal introduced both these monsters in 1931, people had to wait 40 years to see this battle. And this is what they get? Well, Dracula starts tearing off the monster's limbs. Don't you think the monster would be the one using brute force? Already you can tell Dracula wins. Simple as that. Finish him. Fatality. The review would have ended here had I not discovered there's another movie with the same title, Dracula vs. Frankenstein. The aliens, masquerading as the scientists, revive the classic monsters, Dracula, the Frankenstein monster, a mummy, and a werewolf who looks a bit like Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf. The only monster fighting is between the werewolf and the other monsters. There's the werewolf fighting the mummy. I think it's too dark to tell, even worse than the other movie. Now there's the werewolf fighting the Frankenstein monster. You can see a little better, only because the lab equipment keeps exploding. There's fire, flashing lights, and sparks. So you might catch a little glimpse of the monsters every now and then. So why didn't they call it the werewolf versus Frankenstein? I scanned through the whole movie a second time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I mean, it's so dark, for all I know, maybe Dracula did fight Frankenstein. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen. In fact, they don't even call the vampire Dracula. The title is a complete lie. A little more research on the internet shows that it was a German, Spanish, Italian production. How it could be all that, I'm not sure. But anyway, the original title translates to The Monsters of Terror, and in America, it was called Assignment Terror. Trying to make sense of all this is my own assignment of terror. Then, it was released on VHS, and some fuckbrain decided to call it Dracula vs. Frankenstein. It's mind-boggling. Why'd they go through the trouble of making the artwork when that doesn't even happen? The artwork is far better than the movie. Can I stop now? Or should I mention there's yet another Dracula vs. Frankenstein? Or it's sort of called that. The DVD I have says Dracula Prisoner of Frankenstein. And that's what the English subtitle says on the title screen. But the Spanish title actually translates to Dracula Against Frankenstein. IMDb lists one of its titles as Dracula vs. Dr. Frankenstein, and it just so happens that it came out in 1972, close to the other two films. So that makes things even more confusing. And on top of that, it happens to be directed by Jesus Franco, who's made hundreds of exploitation films. So unfortunately, I can't ignore it. Just a couple years prior, he made a Dracula remake called Count Dracula, 1970. It starred Christopher Lee as Dracula, which is interesting because this film was in no way related to the Hammer films, which were still going on at the time. Dr. Seward hunts down Dracula and kills him in the beginning of the movie. Yeah, Dr. Seward, not Van Helsing this time. Then, Dr. Frankenstein, who only speaks in voiceovers for some reason, resurrects the monster who looks pretty bad. We've seen worse, though. Look at his puffy eyes. It looks like they dragged this guy out of bed, put the makeup on him, and told him to act like he's having a seizure. He sends the monster to kidnap a girl, and the doctor extracts her blood. Then he uses the blood to resurrect Dracula by pouring the blood all over a bat. Now, let me stop and say, up until now, all the bats in the movie are obviously fake, even if you go back to the Universal Dracula. The bats then were pretty stupid looking, and in the Hammer films they actually got worse, especially in Scars of Dracula, where you can see how fake the bat looks in full crystal clear color close-up. I guess it just took a while before fake bats ever got to become realistic looking. I mean, in this movie it's so bad you can sometimes see the shadow of the pole that the string's attached to. But then there's times when it's a real bat and somebody's holding it by its wings. Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. Vampires and Kung Fu. Got your attention? Well, check this out. In North America, it was re-edited and retitled as The Seven Brothers Meet Dracula. Both versions were released on a double-sided DVD that comes paired with Frankenstein Created Woman. Unfortunately, it's out of print and pricey. No matter which version you see, you're sure to get lots of topless women, fake bats, fake castles, slit throats, burning limbs, flying arrows, random kung fu fighting, violent slashing, more fake bats, vampires turning to dust, vampires burning, vampires biting, stabbing swords, severed hands, boiling blood, and an ending that doesn't give a shit. Dracula finally comes back for only a minute or two. He's stabbed by Van Helsing almost immediately, and the movie's over. Well, that sucked. I can't even comment on this shit. Just watch. Now your life is complete. This movie's got everything. When Mrs. Black Cone Tits starts shooting dinky lasers out the eyeballs on her clawed hands, you're in for a wild time. Look at him swaying back and forth, dancing like a jackass. He's restless. Like, what the fuck? Why isn't there stuff blowing up right now? He's gotta move. He's gotta shoot fire at his face. I love the villain's headquarters. On her desk is a cheesy-looking bat, and behind her it looks like King Ghidorah's in the Twilight Zone. There's a scene where she becomes the dragon and fights Inframan, and Inframan cuts off her head. But the head regenerates, so he has to cut it off again. And again. And again. And again. Until he decides, fuck it, this ain't working. By the way, everything explodes. Boom! Monster flips over a car. Boom! Car explodes. Alien takes a piss. Boom! Piss explodes. Inframan shoots laser. Boom! Laser explodes. Inframan fights weird upside-down octopus creature. Does flying kick. Boom! Lasers are highly combustible when mixed with water. Boom! Bug monster falls on buildings. Boom! Spear with bowling ball gets thrown. Boom! Monster uses drill. Boom! Hole gets thrown. Boom! 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 Inframan hits the control boards. Boom! Inframan picks up dynamite, flies up into the air, throws the dynamite. Boom! Wait a minute, dynamite exploded? Don't be silly. Inframan flips a guy into the water. Boom! How did Inframan get over there? Now boom again? I'd be afraid to live in this world where everything is ignitable. If you stub your toe, hit your head, or trip and fall, you'll go boom! Look at all this shit going on. I'm really at a loss for words here. Oh, there goes Mrs. Cone Tits. That makes no sense, but who cares? Boom! 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 So basically, boom! This could be the best movie ever made. Except it should come with a warning label. It's highly combustible, and it could go boom! Holy shit, it's James Earl Jones! He turned into a leopard. Now he's dressed as a locust? What's going on here? This movie came out the same year as Star Wars. I'd like to think that when James Earl Jones was recording the voice for Darth Vader, he was still in the middle of filming Exorcist 2. Yeah, he was in the locust costume all along.
Where are those transmissions you intercepted? What have you done with those plans? Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive!
The movie's been beaten to death, filled with hallucinogens, gobbled up by Satan, shat out, flushed off the face of the earth, raped by aliens carrying intergalactic STDs, launched back to Earth, injected with radioactive poison, eaten by Godzilla, and barfed onto the screen where it ended up being booed out of theaters. For real, they pulled this movie out of the theater immediately to be re-edited. The re-edit didn't help much. Well, this movie sucks. Now we're in for a crazy pyrotechnic laser light show. This is heaven. It's gotta be. An explosion to the senses that leaves you brain dead and paralyzed by the time it's over. Look at this! Now it's like 2001, A Space Odyssey. The plot just went out the window and now we're drifting through psychedelic limbo. The funny thing is how serious this movie takes itself up until this point. I don't know what to say. The aliens have long dialogue scenes that go completely untranslated for us Earthling viewers. He's sleeping on the side of the road with his girlfriend. Doesn't she know something's wrong? The dude's been running around with a frickin' laser gun. Who cares? More lasers. Boom! Usually in a normal movie, when something explodes, that's it. It's done. It can't blow up again. But in this movie, they use every camera angle they have. Let's count how many times this car blows up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 explosions. Ooh, what a dumbass. Also, who was the decorator? Why are the drapes so low? And have you ever seen a doorknob this high? But now I'm talking about doorknobs, so let me wrap this thing up. The best moment to end with, he shoots a sign that says Star Wars. Yeah, take that, Star Wars. This is the real laser sci-fi movie. Night of the Demon. Ah, there's a happy little scene. Peaceful. Mother Nature at its most serene. Look at the sun glistening on the lake as it sets behind the mountains. Ah, yeah. This is also where the Sasquatch stalks its prey, or Bigfoot as he's known. Bigfoot! Bigfoot, rip arm off! And there's the trees on the rolling hilltops, reaching in splendor towards the majestic snowy mountaintops as they kiss the turquoise sky. Bigfoot! Bigfoot like blood! Bigfoot say wake up! Bigfoot make body back whirlwind! Let me ask you question, asshole! Bigfoot sure uses a lot of weapons. An axe, a pitchfork. Next thing he's shoving somebody's face onto a hot burning stove. He smashes somebody through a window and rips out their intestines. This is some fucked up Bigfoot. Bigfoot got guts! Why the hell is it called Night of the Demon anyway? It's not a demon, it's Bigfoot. Mystics in Bali is an Indonesian film that's so insane, words cannot do it justice. You just need to see it for yourself. I don't know what to say about this movie. There's meditational floating, rings of fire, all kinds of weird effects, flying projectiles, demonic transformations, dueling laser beams, and as Joe Bob would put it, there's kung fu, tree fu, big-titted pig fu, green fingertip zapping lightning fu. 4 stars, check it out.
It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness.
Werewolves, scary vampire bats, impalings, melting flesh, transformations, all the good stuff. It's scary, but there's a certain kind of innocence and youth to the whole thing. It reminds you of when you were a kid watching late-night TV, reading R.L. Stine books, and watching Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon. Fright Night takes you back. It's a fun movie. It may not be a major classic, but for any horror fan, it's well worth your time.
Because I'm counting on you guys for a Frankenstein story.
I'm sorry, you're counting on us for a what story?
Frankenstein! You remember Frankenstein?
I love how ignorant the boss is and how this sets the tone for the rest of the movie. It has no shame butchering the classic monster mythology. The monster's not called Frankenstein and he's not from Transylvania, but that's what makes it so funny.
This is Transylvania. Don't you want to ask us about Dracula?
Or how about the creature from the Black Lagoon?
It's a one-track joke, but it lets the audiences know that it's self-aware and to laugh with it.
Hey, I got Godzilla in the back room.
I like it. It's a good one.
How about the blob?
The rest is a slapstick monster mash featuring a mummy, a Frankenstein monster who looks like a bum in a neck brace rolled in mud, a werewolf named Lawrence Malbutt that looks like Chewbacca, a fortune teller woman reenacting dialogue from The Wolfman, a vampire played by Gina Davis showing half her breasts, some freak named Twisto bent into a pretzel shape who hides in swamps and grabs people by their balls, and a mad scientist.
Oh, are you crazy?
Don't mad scientists use lightning to create their monsters?
I don't work with lightning. I hate it. I work with all this other shit.
It's a beautiful day today.
It's Comedy 101 with Kramer. He's the funniest character in the movie.
Hey, did you see Dracula? Yeah, when it first came out.
But it comes on a double DVD with Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So that's more vampire tits for you. Give it a watch, but only if you want some good crap.
Crap, I like crap. I love crap. I need crap. Crap, crap, crap. Crap, 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 crap.
The plot of Critters goes like this. Furry balls that fly around shooting prickly needles and morph into porcupine, hedgehog, Tasmanian devil, tribble, ugly, little, cute, cuddly, adorable, vicious, deadly monster alien fugitives from space escape from an asteroid jailbreak and are sought after by intergalactic holographic authorities who hire melty green-faced bounty hunters to travel to Earth and get the critters. The best part is a scene when one of the critters is blown up and the other one speaks the most amazing line to ever be spoken by a translated grumbling porcupine alien creature. Fuck. That says it all.
Where did they come up with this stuff?
Monster in the Closet. This is the kind of movie you gotta leave your brain at the door. And also leave your butt at the door or else you'll shit your pants. It's about that monster everybody knows, the one that lurks in your closet, sometimes called the boogeyman. The greatest gag is when everyone in the whole world destroys their closets to prevent the creature from entering. We even get to see how they destroy their closets in East Asian cultures. The first troll is about the Potter family who are moving into a new apartment. You know, in movies when people move into a new place, they act as if they're seeing it for the first time. Shouldn't they have checked the place out beforehand? Shouldn't they have read that listing a little more closely? You know, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, gas heat, central air, washer, dryer, 1 evil troll, basement door opens to a 13-acre forest.
Shut that damn door!
So that's another Seinfeld star in a shitty movie. Then there's the troll song. It's such a bizarre scene, and it goes on and on. That is the face of humor. That's the first troll movie, and if you think about it, it's the first Harry Potter movie too.
Harry Potter here.
Oh, hi!
Potter. My name is Harry Potter.
That's interesting. Troll 2 is A Horse of Another Color. It's about a different family who are on vacation. Rather than picking a fun vacation spot, they pick some shitty place called Nilbog. Yeah, guess what? Nilbog is goblin spelled backwards. It's an old horror movie gag, taking words and spelling them in reverse, like Alucard and Dracula in Son of Dracula, and Red Rum and Murder in The Shining. It just so happens the whole town is inhabited by trolls in disguise as humans. Or wait, excuse me. They're not called trolls this time. They're goblins. Big difference. Yeah, I guess spelling goblin backwards worked out better. Maybe they didn't want to call the town Lort. There's really no other way to describe this than to just talk about individual scenes. There's the dinner table pissing scene.
And you can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it!
And the awkward corn on the cob seduction scene, just to name a few. My favorite is the movie within the movie. What the hell was that? Of all the things they could have put on the TV, it's a monkey rocketing in the air? Apparently it's from a 1983 Italian film called Grunt. Gotta see more of that.
Oh my God!
Troll 3. Okay, you want to talk Troll 3? Guess what? There's 2 Troll 3s. Yes, 2 movies, both called Troll 3, both made the same year, both by the same director, and both unrelated to any of the Troll movies. So, how did this pair of non-sequels get called Troll 3? The only connection I see is that their director, Joe D'Amato, was an associate producer on Troll 2. He's made a lot of other films, such as Porno Holocaust and House of Anal Perversions. So I'm sure the Troll 3s have just as much connection with those movies.
I'm gonna kill you sometime!
It's Cinemassacre's Monster Madness.
Brain Damage is a mood-enhancing film used for the treatment of boredom and weariness. Its effects are quite strong, but in small doses can stimulate the mind and restore vigor. It's about a brain-devouring creature that latches onto the body of its human host.
Hi.
But it's a polite parasite. It asks first.
Just put me on the back of your neck and everything will be fine.
My neck?
Trust me, Brian. Trust me.
Gee, some creature that looks like a turd that's been rolled in glow-in-the-dark paint wants me to put it on my neck? Sure, sounds like a good idea. Whoa, dude. Do not watch it more than twice in a 24-hour period. Do not watch in combination with other films containing grotesque scenes of dismemberment. Some effects may include restlessness, fatigue, foaming at the mouth, feeling lightheaded, illusions of blue chlorine water, feelings of being green screened, seeing flashing colors, seeing infrared, loss of flesh, splashing in tubs, uncontrollable dancing, the ability to listen to colors.
I can touch an object and listen to the sound of its color.
The ability to get chicks by acting like a total idiot, seeing warp speed, mushrooms growing on body, an appetite for brains, discolored tongue, snowman growing on head, and not to mention permanent brain damage. Good movie. Monkey shines. George Romero, who's known for making the greatest zombie movies, now gives us a different kind of horror. A monkey. An airborne monkey with lightning behind it. It's all a slow build-up to the most intense scene to feature a man trying to get a monkey under control. The monkey uses some dirty tactics like severing phone lines and turning out lights. This is some serious stuff. You know you're watching a great movie when a guy calls a monkey fuckface.
Whatever it takes, fuckface.
And as a nice little touch, there's a Casablanca poster on the wall, just to remind you we're talking classic film. Here's looking at you, shithead. The first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an undisputed horror masterpiece. The second one is unspeakably foul and plays for laughs, enjoyable in its own right. Then comes part 3. Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3.
What kind of sick shit is this?
Ken Foree is one of the good guys. He's awesome in every role he's in, from Dawn of the Dead to The Devil's Rejects. Just give him a gun and have him say motherfucker over and over.
Motherfucker!
Supposedly he got such a positive reaction in the test screenings, they let the character live till the end, even though we see him dying earlier on. That's Ken. He's so good, he's able to cheat his own character's death.
Got that right.
but my favorite character is this guy.
Clean that trap out, Brad. Clean it good. Oh, you motherfucker. Don't tell me what I should do.
Ernest Scared Stupid begins with stock footage from old horror films. Nosferatu, the brain from Planet Arros, the hideous sun demon, and many others, mostly public domain. I recommend this movie for the kids. It has the right blend of comedy and scares, and it's perfect for the Halloween season. It's a movie where the kids are the heroes. The adults are the stupid-head idiots who don't believe in the trolls. So stop being an adult and take one moment to remind yourself of a more innocent time when life was fun and Halloween was awesome. You gotta love giant robots. It's a simple pleasure seeing metal giants stomping around, shooting lasers, and destroying everything in sight. It's even better when there's robots fighting each other. So naturally, I couldn't resist buying these 2 VHS tapes from a local video store that was going out of business. Robot Wars and Robo Warriors. With such similar titles and both being made in the 90s, it's hard to remember which is which. To complicate things further, Robot Wars was the name of that TV game show, it was the title of a Judge Dredd comic, it was the original title for the Transformers knockoff Transmorphers, as well as several different video games, and Robo Warrior was a Nintendo game by Jaleco. Any variation of the name has been done to death. Anyone who watches horror films all around the clock should take this fine Swedish film as a warning to what could happen. Evil Ed is the story of Ed the editor who's been promoted to the slasher film department. Now, he's cutting gory horror films and it's driving him nuts. Too much exposure to this sort of thing could result in terrible hallucinations. A loaf of bread may turn into a severed arm. The devil may offer you a race to hell.
Race me to hell!
And a scary monster may pop out of your fridge.
Fuck you, man.
There's a scene where he's arguing with his boss about the inclusion of a beaver rape scene.
Where in the fuck is my beaver rape scene?
How literal could that be?
Beaver rape clip stays in the film.
Reptilian. It's a giant monster movie from South Korea, but you'd never know because all the actors are American.
Compared to this guy, Godzilla is a pussy.
What an amazing quote. But at least Godzilla never looked as cartoonish. The CG is genuinely bad. It looks like it hasn't been finished. Supposedly there was an upgrade to the special effects. So I figured, oh okay, well that explains it. I probably have the original version. Then I found out the original version has never been released on VHS or DVD. So we're looking at the better version here? It's campy, and it fits perfectly in tune with this year's marathon. Check it out. The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra is a tribute to the B-movies of the 50s. It's shot in black and white, the music is vintage, the framing is static, the acting is deliberately terrible, and the plot is downright absurd. Listen to this. A scientist and his wife travel to Bronson Cave, where else? To find some scientific mineral called atmospherium that will advance the field of science.
Seriously, Betty, you know what this meteor could mean to science. If we find it, and it's real, it could mean a lot. It could mean actual advances in the field of science.
And then there's flat-out visual gags, like seeing a skeleton fighting a mutant monster. It's the most clumsy pairing of any 2 monsters in movie history. So I hope you had a good season and all that good stuff.